Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Software Engineer K here, and thanks to everyone who tuned in last night and supported the channel, through either donations or watching, liking, subscribing, just sharing with the community. I'm really thankful, really appreciative of all of that stuff. So thank you for just your continual and ongoing support. And I believe Trevor also feels the same way. If you have not, do go back and watch the exclusive interview we did with Trevor from Ecomi yesterday. We had a pretty cool intro. So if you don't want to watch the full video, at least watch the first 30 seconds. You will not be disappointed. But today we have had a pretty cool update. So we know that Dan and Rhys and Dave, the CEO, Dan, the COO, and Rhys as well, the communications manager, they had this huge community update for us, and they covered a lot of the things that we discussed yesterday in our interview with Trevor as well. But obviously, they've managed to share a bit more stuff that obviously couldn't be made public at the time. So there is some more clarifications, and if you guys are watching, do watch this whole thing. It's on the official Ecomi YouTube page, and just check out their t-shirts. Pretty cool cameo there. So I just wanted to touch firstly on the point of buyback. So this is what David you said had to say, and this is what I just wanted to share with you guys.
So, the ultimates, we got a couple more sign-off coming up from our accountants and legal, and we're really hoping this will be coming in the next 2 to 3 weeks within that period. So exciting time. We've got a lot of things we're implementing to ensure all that process is done correctly.
Okay, so firstly, this is very important because a lot of you guys may not know, and this isn't FUD, but there were some legal problems with Ecomi way back. You guys could probably find the article. It was just to do with one of their partners, and Ecomi won. They won the case. So, at the time, as with most projects, if you haven't ever had to deal with any kind of legal issues, you tend to kind of lack in that. And one of the things that attracted me to Ecomi straight away is they've got a full legal team, as well as entire board of advisors that are very clued up on the legal aspects of certain parts of NFTs and crypto as well. So Ecomi is very well armed. When the regulations start rolling in, which Joe Biden, president of the US, he's pushing for it. SEC chairman Gary Gensler as well. This stuff is just going to absolutely annihilate the crypto markets. All of the meme coins, they will die. But Ecomi OMI, they have a very high survival chance. They're extremely clued up on the legal aspect, and they're doing it properly with buybacks as well. There's a lot of documentation they need to do. This is related more to equity buybacks, but I imagine buying back crypto is going to be very similar. They have to go through all of these board meetings. They have to sign off all this documentation, and it varies from country to country as well. Drafting the company's buyback documentation, they have to have an agreement, board meeting, notice for members, writing resolutions to approve the share buyback, all of the filings as well. And then, there are extra legal hurdles when you're in Singapore, because Ecomi is a Singaporean-based company. So again, that is something extremely important that people do need to consider as well. The other thing that we wanted to just discuss is we also had a bit of, a bit more clarification on the exchange and why there were delays. So we're just going to play that for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to reiterate there, some of these exchanges have had some issues with GoChain, our current blockchain provider. Obviously, the move to Immutable will open us up to a lot more exchanges, because integrating with ERC20 tokens is much easier than integrating a brand new chain. So once that migration happens, we have a lot more options available to us. But of course, in the short term, we are still targeting any exchange that currently lists GoChain, because that just makes it easier for us.
Right. So as Rhys explained, obviously because OMI is on GoChain, not every exchange has the capability to list GoChain tokens, so they have to put in a lot more extra work to get that integrated, which is why we've seen so many delays, because as Rhys said, that on the exchange side of things, they had some kind of technical issues. Now, it doesn't mean that they cannot do it. It just means that they need to put in more time to do it correctly, because it's not something that they have currently implemented. But that goes to show the fact that they're trying to put in so much effort to get OMI listed. They clearly do believe in the token as well. But we do know that with Immutable X, OMI moving to ERC20, they won't have that issue, and the kind of more lower market cap exchanges, the ones that may not have the capital in order to invest into integrating OMI whilst it's on GoChain, they won't have any issues listing OMI once it's on ERC20. They can just do it. So again, once the Immutable X kind of transfer happens, like we'll see a lot more liquidity with OMI. There won't be this issue anymore. Now, there was a question that I received on Telegram multiple times actually regarding the number of mints. Now, David he does kind of clarify a bit on that. So I just wanted to like reiterate this as well.
Start pushing our ads. Once we start pushing ads, if we start onboarding all these new users, we do not want them to go into a store with nothing to purchase. And what our user really need to understand is that we understand collectability and, the scarcity.
Right. A couple of things there. Firstly, David the whole team, they are made up of people who are collectors. They understand this. Some of these, David Yu's probably been doing collectibles for longer than some of the people watching this video have been alive. He's got like 25 years experience in it. So he understands this. And again, they've got an expert board of advisors as well, all with their own unique expertise in different parts of, collectibles, NFTs, blockchain. They are clued up on this. They've thought about everything that people are criticizing them over. They've thought about it. They've come with solutions. It's just, for whatever reasons, they can't say what the solutions are. But we know that they are planning to onboard a mass amount of users. Right now, all the users have been mostly through, word and mouth and online, Twitter and whatnot. But, they're going to be advertising to the mass market. So we're going to see some huge growth, and you don't want to go into an app and see absolutely nothing there. So the number of mints, I believe, is going to continue increasing. Maybe in the future, commons will be 100,000, but that's fine if you have like a few million users. So that's just something that everyone just needs to understand is if you're seeing uncommons and commons not sold out, like that is fine. That's how it's supposed to be. But it just means that they have projected that there will be more users. And remember, their first projection of how many users they get was massively off. They thought they'd have 20,000 users and they end up having 100,000 like within that month. So if they're putting in, 12,000 commons, for example, because they think they're going to have 1 million users by the end of the year, their projection might be off again. They could end up potentially having, more than 1 million. So just take that into consideration as well. Now, I did also want to touch on a very, very important topic. So there is going to be a change to the tokenomics. So this is something that I have been quite outspoken about. I've said that they can just go back and change things. So this is just one cool aspect that I think everyone is going to appreciate.
One thing that I'm actually really excited about is that in the secondary market, we will very soon be opening that up to OMI listings. So to really add that extra utility to the OMI, sellers will have the option to either list in gems or in OMI, or in gems or OMI.
Okay, that is pretty cool, because right now, if you were to spend $10 in the App Store and buy gems, that gems is converted back to OMI under the hood. And then that OMI is eventually sent to Vault Wallet, which is, that OMI will then be burned. But if you can bypass this and get your OMI from an exchange, use that to buy an NFT, that should go straight to the burn wallet. It doesn't have to go through the whole like underlying, gem to OMI conversion. That is definitely, because now you're not relying on buybacks to reduce the supply. You're literally taking OMI from exchanges and then burning it directly in order to buy NFTs. Now, obviously, if people are selling NFTs and they're getting OMI for it, they can return that to an exchange. But we know that OMI needs to keep their reserve wallet topped up. So, the buybacks will continue happening. And I think this is exactly what OMI needed in terms of their kind of utility and tokenomics, is the ability to buy and sell NFTs using OMI directly, because a lot of us do hold OMI. Like we're annoyed by the app fees. But at the same time, this is what we needed in order to massively reduce the supply of OMI on exchanges. So I think everyone should be, if you have the option to, just, you start using OMI, help burn that OMI, because those who have been holding it for the longest, the ones who believe when there was so much FUD, like they're the ones who are now going to start to reap the rewards. So if you are holding OMI, then just be ready for that. But yeah, definitely need to think more about how this is going to work in terms of the burn. But the effect it's going to have on the tokenomics and the utility of token is amazing. Like, I'm really, really excited about that. Now, we did also hear a bit about Comic-Con as well. And this is a point I raised in the interview yesterday with Trevor, is we know that there are going to be more, geolocation kind of events being proposed. It's definitely an idea in the works, and how powerful that is, the utility that could bring is they don't need to be there physically. All they need is kind of the coordinates of the event and the time and day, and then they can host a virtual event, which is really, really cool. Like, they can literally do it for every Comic-Con, and every Comic-Con will have people who love that stuff, like the true fans. So I just wanted to highlight one point in terms of how this is going to help VeVe's user base grow massively in the next few months.
Please do keep your eye out, and in the coming weeks we will be sending out banners on our website, our Twitter, our social media, same as the Comic-Con website. We'll be talking about it.
So they're going to be hosting, VeVe at San Diego Comic-Con. There were 135,000 people who attended in 2019. Obviously, last year, 2020, there was COVID, so that didn't quite go ahead. But right now, we have 250,000, I think approaching 300,000, somewhere in that region. An extra 135,000, that's nearly an extra 50% users. And these users are, plucked from people who really like the stuff, like real fans. Like, a lot of these guys are not, crypto people. They're just fans of these brands, but they just haven't been exposed to it. And a lot of them are going to, tell their friends who don't go to Comic-Con as well. So they're just going to spread the word. And that's where we're going to start to see that exponential growth, is once VeVe starts hitting these big events where people who really like the brands are going to be at these events looking for things like VeVe. They just haven't been exposed to it because they're not into the crypto side. You have to remember that the people who know about VeVe right now are the crypto people, not necessarily the brand people. So that is really, really important. And lastly, what I did also want to touch on, like one more point of very big importance, is the whole reasoning behind Immutable X, because there were people saying, why can't they have gone with this chain? Why can't they have gone with that chain either?
It came down to really a key few things, which is, number one, it needs to be gasless. But the reason being is that, we've already minted, in the first few months of operation, we've already minted more than 500,000 NFTs. I don't want to be paying $30 every time I mint an NFT, because then there's going to be no VeVe. So gasless was a huge thing. The other kind of key factor now is is environmental friendliness, and that's something that always comes up with our licensors. And there's still a lot of misinformation out there, really.
Okay, so we know that Immutable X is gasless. It is carbon neutral, and also allows them to move to this regional interoperability. So obviously not all of the chains, although they're interoperable, don't meet potentially the gasless aspect, or they may not meet the the carbon neutral aspect. And Immutable X hits all of those, and it's designed for products like VeVe. If you look at all their clients, they have epic.gg, for example. They've got their own Gods Unchained. It's designed for these kind of collectible sort of platforms. So that, I think, is going to be really, really awesome moving forwards. But definitely do check this out. It is on the official Ecomi YouTube. Okay, so we are kind of we did drop below it, but we are kind of still following this trend roughly. But we are sat above the original trend line. But I believe we're forming a little bit of support here. What could happen is we could retest this region, and we're going to break lower if the exchange is not announced tomorrow. That is my prediction, because a lot of people, you can see that there is a closing of volatility here, which means the price is either going to break or it's going to dump heavily, because the bids and asks are kind of closing. So if we don't get that exchange tomorrow, I'm pretty sure we're going to probably come back down to this low here. And that's perfectly fine. We'll probably come back and retouch this trend line. If we do get the exchange, then we'll probably move up a bit and then dump, because typically straight after exchange listing, the price does seem to dump, which is for most coins, unless the exchange is Binance. There are a few exchanges where the price doesn't actually dump after the listing. On Binance, I believe it's one of the few where the price maintains. So that is just something to think about as well. But yeah, I am pretty much convinced that I am going to buy some more OMI. I was holding off just because I didn't want to liquidate any of my stock holdings because I hold quite a lot of Tesla. But after kind of just hearing about everything, the changes, and given OMI is actually at a pretty low price, we know that crypto market is on a downtrend right now. I think now is actually a good time for me to just liquidate a bit of Tesla and just kind of, go a little bit closer to my final OMI end goal. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Please do like and subscribe to support the content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.